Welcome in at Section 1904. It is Thursday, August 21st, 2025. I have no idea how many of these podcasts that we've actually done. I keep meaning to ask off air, off mic, how many of these we've done. I feel like we should be in the business of celebrating certain benchmarks. So
we should.
Just remind me to work on that and to make sure I check with John to figure that out for a future episode. But I'm Darren Smith. He's John Gennaro. We are from Bottle Rocket on 16th, downtown San Diego. The Padres are playing a baseball game coming up 1 hour from the time of this recording. This is going to be a shorter podcast, so you don't have to listen to this at 1.5 or 2 times the speed. So we're going to go kind of short here because the Padres played last night. They're playing again in an hour. By the time you listen to this podcast, the first pitch of today's game will probably have been thrown already. So we're not going to spend a ton of time analyzing it.
Of course, yeah.
We're not going to get into the home runs that were hit. We're not going to get into the lineup. We are going to say, though, thank you to the people, to the members of Section 1904 that have shown up here. Since Bottle Rocket opened up at 11 a.m., we have seen a handful of our friends, members of the section that came here. Always great to see, whether it's Ben or Tony or we don't want to start going into names because people are still on their way and they'll feel like we didn't mention them.
Yeah.
But since I already opened that door, I suppose I probably should adjust. But hey, they're playing here in a little bit. It's a ton of fun. It's downtown San Diego. It's kind of a warm, hot, humidity kind of day.
Humid.
And we'll see what that means for game number 4 of this series with the Dodgers coming to town tomorrow. John?
2 quick questions for you, Darren Smith. First question, would you like to take a guess on how many episodes we have done together? I am including the episodes we did as a part of Bandwagon Beach before we were Section 1904. But would you like to take a guess on how many we've done together?
I am going to guess that we are we in the triple digits? Wow. See, we missed it. I think show number 100 would have been something worth celebrating.
The only reason I didn't was because I was including those Bandwagon Beach ones, and I was like, is it actually our 100th? I don't know. This would be our 125th episode.
125 with Bandwagon Beach.
Yeah, but I'm going by how many episodes are in the podcast feeds. Some of those are you and Adrian interviewing Manu Dua and stuff that's not necessarily right. Section 1904. But even if you shave off those, we're probably still at about 120. If you shave off the Bandwagon Beach stuff, 110. This is why I didn't celebrate it. I wasn't exactly sure when our 100th episode happened.
I'm always impressed, too. I'm not a UFC person, but I do notice that, it's UFC, whatever the number is now, 375 or something like that. And I was like, are they just going to keep doing it this way? Are we just going to be in a couple of years at UFC number 1,212? Is that just the way it's going to go forever? They're just going to keep adding these numbers on, or are they, or WWE or whatever it is? What's the big thing? WrestleMania?
WrestleMania is
right?
They're at 40 something. I mean, that's like the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
you get a number every year. My other question for you, because I got startled driving here today, coming down the 94 towards downtown, I saw a billboard that a friend of mine texted me the other day and said, this billboard always reminds me of you because this person looks like you. So Darren Smith, does this person on this billboard that I believe is for mental health, what does it say? If you are struggling emotionally, there's help. Call 988. Does that person look like me, Darren Smith?
Without my glasses on, sure.
You have your glasses on. Other glasses?
Not exactly.
I think it looks like when John Travolta went bald, when he started not wearing the wig anymore.
Yeah, it's a bald guy with a beard. So, I mean, it looks more like Joe Musgrove.
Joe Musgrove?
If Joe Musgrove was bald with a beard.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I was driving down the 94 and I saw that billboard after my friend shared it with me the other day, and I was like, oh, God! And I was like, do people look at that and honestly think that's what I look like? But maybe. I used to have a lot of friends that would send me pictures of random models on websites wearing clothing and being like, I thought this was you for a second. I was like, no, any white guy who has a shaved bald head with a beard. Apparently, we all look the same.
Well, the beard is also a lot darker than your beard, so it's a little. If you did a little just for men into that beard, you might strike more of a resemblance to this random billboard now that people will be looking for.
I did think of that, and I was like, this is a friend that I haven't seen very much in the last few years, because that's definitely what I looked like 5 or 6 years ago. Yes.
Yeah, I know. I have this crisis every day. I thought about just completely shaving it off because my facial hair has gotten so gray on the sides. I can't stand it. I actually did think maybe I'm just going to take a razor to this, but I haven't put a razor on my face, honestly, in years. Maybe since my wedding. That might have been the last time that I actually put a razor on my face. I cannot stand it. I don't enjoy anything about it. So the question becomes then, do I dislike the look of the gray facial hair more than the feeling of putting a razor on my face? That's the inner conversation that I'm having with myself.
Lucky you. My beard is here hiding the double chin. I don't have the option to shave it there. Otherwise, I look much fattier.
Well, I'll tell you what, I was thinking about it because I was a little self-conscious. I was making my way out to SDFC this morning, unsuccessfully, I might add.
Oh.
Yeah. Traffic and construction got the best of me.
Ooh.
And I thought, I'm interviewing all these people who are young, and I wonder if maybe I should try to hide a little bit of my aging by shaving the gray hairs off of my face.
I'm not going to comment. I'm just going to say, if I was in your position, I think I'd be having the same mental struggles.
Yeah, like that was a real thing for me. Like, I wonder if they're like, oh, was it your turn to talk to that old guy today? Like I was thinking about when I talked to Marcus Ingvartson the other day. He's like, yeah, I just had a good interview with that old guy. It's like, I wonder if that's the perception. Yeah, they're all very nice. I mean, they're great guys to be around, and they really are. Like a bunch of great dudes. I don't say that very often, but I do. Like I did wonder. Like, I wonder if they're going back in. Like yeah, oh yeah, okay, yeah. You got to go talk to him. Who is that? You just go look for that older guy.
I will tell you, I used to wear gray T-shirts a lot because it's like a very neutral color, and you can wear any kind of like hat with it, whatever. I have learned that with all the gray hair in my beard and sometimes on the side of my head if I haven't shaved recently, the gray shirt really brings out the gray in the beard and everything. So like today, you're wearing a grayish shirt. Brings out some of the gray in your beard. I basically stopped wearing gray shirts because of this, but I'm not ready to take a razor to my face.
Well, yeah, then the conversation shifts to, well, is it better to be, why don't you just make an attempt to be the cool older guy instead of the lame older guy trying to act younger?
Yeah.
Right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I think that there's real value in being like, oh yeah, that's that cool cat who's been around a little bit, other than like, who's this fucking weirdo? So, maybe there's a little bit of that. But, this is what happens for anybody who's a little bit younger than John and myself. All right. But anyhow, Bottle Rocket, we talked about it last time that we were here, how difficult the business was. And right after we were done recording the podcast, Eli took the social media to inform everybody that's been coming here for so many years. And I will tell you, we were at the bar for a little while before we started rolling. People are truly heartbroken about this bar closing down at the end of October. This place has become such a destination for so many people that we know and so many people that we do not know who come here because it is part of the ritual that they make when they are coming to Petco Park. So people really are busted up. I think we're all sort of in the same space, though. We're all hoping maybe there's some way to figure this all out. I don't know. If there is, we would love to be a part of it. But if not, we just would love to enjoy it while it's here, which is why we came back in such short order. So we'll be here just for a short amount of time again because the game's starting in less than an hour. Padres win. Exciting. Hit a bunch of home runs. I think this was a much more enjoyable game, at least for me. I know beauty's in the eye of the beholder, but a much more enjoyable game on Wednesday night than it was on Tuesday, where it's sort of station-to-station baseball. And the Padres now, John, they have done the thing that I think you and I said we hoped that they would do when we got on the air on Monday, when we were sifting through the disappointment of being swept in Los Angeles, which was, how about we just figure out a way, make the series against the Dodgers relevant when it starts tomorrow. And no matter what it is that happens this afternoon at Petco Park, and no matter what it is that happens between the Dodgers and the Colorado Rockies, tip of the cap to the Colorado Rockies, no matter what it is that happens, this series will be relevant. And this series, again, will be another weekend series between the Padres and Dodgers for first place in the NL West. That's a good thing.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't even really depend on what happens today, because the worst that they can be is 2 games behind the Dodgers.
Two with the bullet.
Heading into a 3-game series. And I pointed this out before the series in LA. Padres are a much better team at home than they are on the road. They're basically a 500-ish team on the road, which is not great. They're really good at home. They're also really good in day games, so probably a good chance they come away with a win today. As previously mentioned, Bob Melvin, maybe he's got a twilight round before he catches the plane to wherever they're going next. But 28-16 in day games, 43-40 in night games. Shout out to Alex Pena, who posted that in our Discord earlier today and reminded me that the Padres are really good in day games and really good at home. There's a chance that we walk in on Monday and we're talking about first place Padres again.
Yep.
And I don't think that would necessarily be surprising. It would be a nice redemption story based on what happened last weekend. And it would really set the table for the rest of the season, a potential playoff series between these 2 teams, Padres and Dodgers. I'm excited. I'm not as vulnerable as I was heading into last week's series. I'm not putting my whole heart and chest into it, but I'm still excited. I'm still going to be watching as much baseball as I possibly can this weekend.
And just looking ahead, at least according to ESPN, it's going to be Darvish and Snell, Cortez and Glasnow, Pivetta and Yamamoto. So those are 3 pretty tasty games. I mean, they are still tasty. Now, are we going to do anything different like we did last weekend? Are we going to be doing post-game shows? Are you going to be going all in? Is Eric Rubner going to go on the flagship radio station on Friday? Or any of these things, are there going to be watch parties? Now, it's different because the team's at home. The series is going to be at Petco Park.
Yeah.
But, like last weekend, it felt like a lot of people were like, hey, man, there's like something happening here, and I want to be a part of it. I don't know where you're at least as of today, but, the series is going to be meaningful. It is going to be meaningful over the weekend, so I don't know. Or is everybody going to just take learn or take the perceived lesson of last weekend, which is, maybe we should just throttle back a little bit and just sit around, enjoy it, and see what happens?
Fuck that. So I will say, Saturday I have plans that cannot really be messed with that involve me being in Dana Point for most of the evening. So while this game will undoubtedly be on because the people that I'm going to visit is a mixed group of both Padre and Dodger fans. So the game will be on a TV somewhere, but I will be out of town, not near a microphone, not near a computer. If you want to handle postgame on Saturday.
John, I think I have somewhere to be on Saturday.
Is that the SDFC game? There's Saturday this week? I was confused with last week when they played on Sunday. So no postgame show on Saturday. Friday, though? Friday, I think I'm going to do it, because when we did it last week, we were getting thousands of people. And yes, some of them were Dodger fans. I might have to get in those comments and really just ban or boot those people. But Friday night, I'm probably going to be excited enough to do some sort of post-game thing. Sunday, we'll see. But Saturday, definitely not.
Okay, yeah. Saturday, we are out. I will be at Snapdragon Stadium, where might I point to... just point out to everybody, there's going to be 42,000 plus people at Petco Park, and they're expecting 28,000 from what I was told at Snapdragon Stadium. So Saturday is going to be one of those days where this city is going to feel alive. Now, nobody knows what's going to happen. Padres are going to be battling it out for first place with their arch nemesis, a team that they have not been successful against this year or most seasons over the last couple of decades. And SDFC is going to be playing for a playoff spot. A win or a draw, and SDFC clinches a playoff spot in its first season ever. So that's pretty remarkable to think about what the stakes are this weekend in San Diego. And I'm not saying that these two things are by and large on the same level. I'm just saying these are 2 really important weekends for both teams that we primarily spend time talking about. It's a pretty important weekend for Manny Machado. Manny Machado's team has a chance to clinch a playoff spot. Manny Machado's team also has a chance to move into first place in the NL West. So a lot of eyes on Manny Machado this weekend. Manny, good to see him homer. Good to see him homer. Good to see O'Hearn homer. Good to see Gavin Sheets homer a couple times. You know what else was really good to see? Fernando Tatis Jr. taking a home run away. That is as good as a home run. I'm sorry. I know he doesn't see it that way. I know a lot of other people don't see it that way, but that is as good as a home run. When you can take a run off the board, that is, and I hope he understands this. This is the point that I keep trying to make about Fernando. I hope he understands that He adds value in so many different ways. It's not just that he's not capable of hitting these home runs for him to be a contributing factor and a key piece of the puzzle, which is why sometimes when you see the things that we've seen from him where the team wins and it just seems like he's completely miserable sitting at his stall. I heard Kevin Acee on John and Jim on Wednesday, and he said the thing about Fernando is he always is available post-game. Other guys, if they're not in the mood to talk, they don't talk. Manny's like, not today. And, that's something that a lot of players do. Fernando, though, feels like, hey, I'm always going to talk, and maybe sometimes that's why we catch glimpses of him when he's in those kind of moods. And you're like, well, wait, what's going on here? They just won a game. Why is he celebrating his teammates more? That could come across as a little bit of selfishness, doesn't it? But, I thought that was an interesting point from Kevin that almost never does Fernando say no to postgame. And other guys have learned to say no when maybe they're not in the right headspace to be dealing with Marty Caswell and Kevin Acee, and the string of questions that are going to come along with them.
I have a question for you. I'm looking at the top 30 players in baseball this season based on F-WAR. So that's WAR on Fangraphs, not Baseball Reference. And that's just because it's the first one that came up when I searched. Would you like to guess how many members of the San Diego Padres rank in the top 30 in F-WAR this season?
Going to guess it's one, and his name is Fernando Tatis Jr.
Correct. Would you like to take a guess on where he is in that top 30?
We'll guess that he is 14th.
He is 9th.
Okay.
Right below Jose Ramirez for the Cleveland Guardians and right ahead of Paul Skeens of the Pittsburgh Pirates. That is incredible. And I know some of that is because he's the player that he thinks he is for the first month and a half of this season or whatever it was. I know that he built up a lot of WAR value in the beginning of the season when he was the best player in baseball for 6 weeks. But still, it is crazy to me that everyone, including us, has been spending the last couple months going like, what's wrong with Tatis? Man, he looks moody. Where's his power? Some of these at-bats are non-competitive. He's one of the 10 best players in baseball.
Yeah, but John, you're missing the whole point here. It's not about what you and I are saying on a podcast from Bottle Rocket. It's not about what's being said on local radio.
It should be.
It's what his demeanor is telling us.
I know.
That's what it is.
I
And
know.
this is the thing, because I am still fortunate to be in a position where I can connect with people who work for the Padres. And I have asked a little bit about this. And the sense that I get is we all are in agreement that he is a valuable player and he adds value, like we said. I think the number that I saw this morning was he's taken away 4 home runs this year. That's like adding 4 home runs to your total.
That sounds right, yeah.
The problem is Fernando, when he looks in the mirror, he still sees that supernova. He still sees that unicorn. And he doesn't see himself as just an all-star, right? Because 75, 80 players make the all-star game, and you and I can go, you're an all-star. That's amazing. You are beloved by this fan base. But the version that Fernando sees of himself is better. He sees himself. There's a lot of all-stars, but how many Shohei Ohtanis are there? Not many. There's a lot of all-stars, but how many Bryce Harpers are there? Not many. And Fernando used to be in that conversation. Remember what it was that happened right before the All-Star break where Fernando confessed that, I planned a trip. He thought it like, I'm not living up.
Yeah.
So he has a self-perception. I don't know, is it an issue? But I don't want to go as far as to say it's a funhouse mirror thing, but the version that we're seeing of him that we can justifiably say is different than it used to be, but it still is valuable, it's good. It's like you just said it about Fangraphs WAR, but he doesn't see it. And that's the thing that's tough to break through is you have to convince him that the thing that you did last night is special, and not many guys can do that. And then your ability to run the bases is still special.
Yeah.
You're not stealing a ton of bases. We've talked about it. But he doesn't think being an all-star is good enough. And that's the thing that I think he's dealing with, is that he saw himself as this unicorn baseball player who was the elite of the very elite, not just really, really good and better than most.
Yeah, and I was laughing when you first brought this up because maybe Fernando Tatis Jr. should listen to Section 1904. Maybe we should give him a comp membership. Because when you started talking about this, you know what I heard in my head was the thing that we talk about a lot, which is like enjoying the journey, understanding that you're not just going to be the best all the time. Not every day is going to be a win and your best form. Enjoy the journey. And like in this regard, I will give a compliment to Manny Machado. When Manny Machado has a bad month, he goes, hey, man, that's baseball.
Yeah.
Like, you don't go through a season without having a bad month. And Fernando Tatis Jr. has a bad month, and it seems like he starts beating himself up, going like, I'm supposed to be the best player in the world. It's like, I don't know, man. Enjoy the journey. There's ups, there's downs. Enjoy all of it. Try to. Understand at least that there's ups and downs, and try not to get frustrated by the downs. They don't guarantee that there's going to be ups, but you don't sit there and go like, man, I'm supposed to be the greatest player of all time. And that's the thing. I think there's a little bit of, as to you just what you just said, like, I think there's a little bit of I'm supposed to be the greatest player of all time.
Yeah.
And
I'm not supposed to be top 30.
I don't know what to do with that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to try to compare myself in my own career, but I will say, having success professionally sometimes, it is great. I often say in my radio career, finishing first was amazing, but it was also a curse, because then when you finish third, people would look and say, well, what's the problem?
Yeah.
And any of these radio shows around town would love to finish third. Any of them, except the ones that have finished first for a really long time.
Yeah, they need to finish first.
And then people start asking, well, what's wrong? And sometimes the answer really is not much. There's not much different about the show. Maybe it's just how the accounting works when it comes to, I don't want to go into whole sports radio ratings and how stupid the system is, but it does mess with you. It does mess with you mentally. And people can tell you, no, this is really good. The show's successful. You're selling it. But and you start thinking deep down in the back of your mind, you're starting to think maybe there's something wrong with the show. And, that's a real thing. Now, it's a lot different for Fernando. He plays in front of tens of thousands of people all the time, and he plays in front of millions of people in Major League Baseball. And, he really was considered once upon a time the best player in all of baseball. And he's not doing the thing I think that most people associate it with, which is hitting the home runs. And, I can understand why that might mess with him mentally. But I don't think it can be said enough. It's not the only way that he can contribute to the club. And you don't want to turn out to be a drain, right? In the sink of life, John, there are two types of people. There are the faucets and there are the drains. And you don't want to be you don't want to be the drain inside of that clubhouse. Everybody's like, well, what's the matter with him? We just won a baseball game and this guy's sulking.
Yeah.
You just 31 games to go. Doesn't seem like it's a big problem. But again, he is as beloved still as there is on this club. I don't know that there's a more beloved Padre player.
I mean, by the fans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I wish he would realize that. And whatever's going on with the power, as I've said a couple times, I keep saying the Jason Hayward thing. It seems like it's an off-season situation for him. But again, that was a great example last night of how he can impact a game, because that changes things early, right in the first inning of the game. Hey, wife just walked in with a suitcase.
Wow, straight from the airport.
Yeah, she did. I wonder if she saw Tony Bubbles on the way out.
What service?
Yeah.
Wife delivery.
Yeah, how about that? Hey, see Tony Bubbles? He just walked in. Okay. Sorry, Leah just walked in literally from 6 days in Las Vegas.
Yeah, so we'll wrap this up in about 5 or 10 minutes, because we're at about 23, 24 already.
Okay, and we said we were going to be quick.
Yeah, I wanted to recap. So Tatis last night, 4 at-bats, a walk, 2 hits, an RBI, a run, a strikeout. That's a great player. Like, I know he didn't hit 2 home runs like Gavin Sheets, but he did that, and to your point, he stole a home run over the fence. That is a great baseball player. I think the question I saw a lot of last night, and this is going to be really interesting when they're facing lefty pitchers, especially lefty Dodger starters, is have the last few days convinced Mike Shildt that Ryan O'Hearn and Gavin Sheets should be in the lineup every day?
I mean...
And if so, what does that mean for Luis Arraez? I don't know. We're gonna see, right? What was the Kyle Brandt said that's the worst thing you can say into on a TV or radio. But we're gonna see. But it's really interesting because
this conversation is twisting people into knots. I was listening. I had to drive out to Saquon to go to SDFC today. Again, unsuccessfully.
Try to go to SDFC.
And I was listening to the 97.3 roundtable, and this is tearing a hole through the hosts at that radio station.
Why?
Because Chris Ello is so dug in on the fact that Luis Arraez should be batting second every day, and he got caught saying something about, I'm rooting against Ryan O'Hearn, and it sounded incredibly dismissive towards the fans. It was a clip, probably taken out of context. Maybe he was joking. I don't know. But not a great look, and he just was digging in even deeper.
That's what he does.
That's classic Ello about... You guys are being dismissive of Luis Arraez. And all anybody's saying, Paul Reindl actually was really the voice of reason, saying, we're just saying it at times he's a bit of a buzzkill in the two-hole in particular. And, but it just was carrying on for a really, really long time. If it were up to Ello, no. I think O'Hearn would probably be with Luis Camposano. AAA.
Good God.
I'm just kidding. I'm exaggerating. But it just is he just is so dug in instead of saying I don't know. Let's see what this looks like. Figure out a way. You're the manager of the team. Figure out a way to get this guy into the lineup right now. Yes, he's done things against lefties here that he really hasn't done all year, if we're being fair. But he should be a more regular player. He should be a more regular feature. Now, what's going to happen on Friday night against Blake Snell? I don't know.
No, that's what I'm saying. You're facing lefty Dodger starters.
Yeah.
And I don't think you can... Here's the thing about them playing two series so close together is you're beaming now that your wife has walked in. I don't think you can roll out the same lineup that just failed last week. I don't think you can do that. I understand, Mark DeRosa had the very good breakdown on MLB Network of they were running and Will Smith was throwing out runners, and that really gave Blake Snell some leash to work with, and that was very helpful for him and everything. But do you really want to sit Sheets and O'Hearn? They're your hottest hitters right now. They're crushing the ball every time they're given an opportunity. Again, if those guys sit, I'm going to assume that Mike Shildt is not a moron because, I don't know, I'm reasonable. And if he's not a moron, then either these guys are going to be in the lineup or he's being dictated down to the front office that these guys don't go in the lineup against lefty pitching. Again,
let me. I mean, is it a little bit of a blessing? I hate saying it this way. It doesn't sound right. This Jackson Merrill thing is interesting. I don't know if you read Dennis Lin, but Lin had a quote from Shildt saying that this is a bone bruise and these things take a little while.
Yeah.
Now, some might be wondering why isn't he going on the IL? I don't know what you have to call up at this point. Do you have anything left?
I don't. Tyler Wade?
What does he do?
He can play a little outfield, I guess.
Can he?
He played left. He was basically the starting left fielder for a month, Darren.
For months when people were not thrilled.
Well, yeah.
It's better than a blank, as my dad would say. It's better than a blank. It's better than having an empty hole on your roster, I suppose, would be the argument for it. But I don't know, really. I don't know. But it does afford you the opportunity, and with Cronenworth, to get these guys in there. And now people have seen this, and they, it's producing results here, isn't it? So
for a team that I saw Dennis Lin tweeted out this morning that the Padres have, I think, less home runs than every team except the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Yeah, 29th. But have been better since the trade deadline, 15, 16, somewhere like that.
Well, because Laureano's hitting home runs, Ryan O'Hearn's hitting home runs, Gavin Sheets, when he's given the opportunity, is hitting home runs. You know who's not hitting home runs? Luis Arraez, Fernando Tatis Jr., Jake Cronenworth, Xander Bogaerts, any of the guys who were here previously or getting playing time previously. Sheets is kind of caught in the middle of this. But, they're showing you that the best version of this team is with these two guys in the lineup. And you have a choice here to either believe that or to be I don't know, we really got to play the percentages here. I got to put Bryce Johnson and Jose Iglesias in the lineup when there's a lefty because we can't risk having Sheets and O'Hearn go against lefties. Tatis and Machado and Bogaerts, those guys can face righties all day. But this all-star over here and this borderline all-star over here, they can't face guys that throw with the same arm that they hit with. I don't know. It seems like faulty logic to begin with. And I'm a big believer that everyone can improve. We don't talk enough about A.J. Preller can become a better GM than he was previously. You can't look at the stuff that he did 10 years ago. Holy shit, it's been 10 years. And go, look at the mistakes he's made. He's gotten better since then. And with Shildt, we've thrown out more than enough criticism of Mike Shildt. Doesn't mean he can't learn from his mistakes and get better. This weekend is going to be an opportunity for him to learn from his mistakes and get better. and it's going to be an opportunity for the team to play better in a better environment for them. And look, if they get swept by the Dodgers this weekend, it's not going to be as embarrassing as it was last weekend, but it's going to be close. It's going to be a stamp on you are not in the Dodgers tier. You're not in the same league as them. You are lesser than. So it's a big series for Shildt and the Padres.
The only thing I'll say, I don't think for a second, I don't have all the answers when it comes to optimizing lineups and all that, and I tend to think lineup construction can be a tad bit overrated. But I will say, the one thing I will say for sure, certain, is I don't think anybody should be married to the idea that Luis Arias has to bat second every day. That's all I'm saying. Like, I don't know how you're going to get all these guys in here. It does feel like at times like you are trying to do a little bit of juggling. And especially when Merrill comes back and when Cronenworth is healthy. Like I don't know who the odd person out is. That's going to be a tough conversation, but somebody's going to have to just be ready to be a key figure off the bench and get a couple of starts, maybe a start or two a week, tops. All I would say is I just don't believe that you should be married to Luis Arias in the 2-hole. That is it. That is all I think that needs to be said in this conversation. I think everything else is open for discussion except for that. He should not be guaranteed at-bats in the 2-hole every single day.
Okay. We're at 30 minutes, by the way. We can end whenever. But I do have this question for you. I'm not going to do the Mike Shildt, then where would you put him question. Instead, I'm going to ask you this. Why do you think Luis Arias is batting in a 2-hole almost every game? Because I know I have my theories.
You know, I mean, I just tend to think Mike Shildt probably looks and goes, hey, listen, he's one of the National League leaders in hits. Is he the leader in hits? You know, he's capable of having 2-3 hit games every single day. I think he probably has just become a creature of habit that, he thinks being able to go 1, 2, 3 in the lineup for him.
Not even the leader on the team in hits.
Well, Manny is. Him and Manny were going back and forth. They were separated by 1 last time I looked.
And in the National League, they're both beat out by Trey Turner, who has 15 more hits than Manny Machado.
Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3. Turner, Manny.
In the National League, yeah. In all of baseball goes Turner, Bo Bichette, Jesus.
How about that?
Bobby Witt, Manny Machado, Luis Arias, 5th in Major League Baseball.
Okay. I think he probably goes, low maintenance, routines, 31 games to go. This is sort of just the way, like, I have to play with 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 every single, 3, 4, or 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 every single day. But 1, 2, 3, like, I just put that in ink. And I think that's sort of the way the manager likes to do it. I just think we're at a point now where it just doesn't have to be that way.
Here's my theory.
And, I think some of it is, like, do you worry that you're losing him and that his routine gets disrupted? And he's a free agent, and then maybe he whines a little bit, and he's like, hey, listen, I've already moved once. Like, you already took me out of the position where I've been batting my entire life, where I've been so successful. This is why you traded for me.
Yeah.
It's because I'm a top-of-the-lineup kind of hitter.
Right.
This is why you gave up the players that you gave up. But I would just say, hey, listen, this is what's in the best interest of winning right now. And that's probably where we'll learn a little bit about Luis Arias if that conversation ever were to happen.
Yeah, I mean, look, in the beginning of the season, Mike Shildt was talking about not everyone is batting where they want to be batting. And I think both you and I took that to be Luis Arias would probably prefer to bat leadoff, and so would Fernando Tatis Jr. And one of those guys is a superstar who's going to be here for like 11 more years. So Fernando Tatis Jr. gets to bat leadoff, but Arias gets to bat second. I made some comment on social media the other day about I didn't think that he had batted lower than second this year, and he really has been given no days off. Someone reminded me he did bat 4th for a couple of games for whatever reason. It's also a bad position for Luis Arias. But I think this is one of two things. Either the front office is telling Mike Shildt, don't piss him off, we're in contract negotiations, or Mike Shildt is just such a player's manager that he's like, hey, look, Luis, I'm so sorry that we can't bat you first. That's Tatis's. Right. He signed long-term. He's the superstar. He's the franchise. But I'll bat you second every day. I think
that was a compromise, right?
Yeah.
I don't know that there's interest in bringing him back. I really don't.
Not anymore. I don't think so.
I don't know that you're beholden to him just as keeping him happy for future for future considerations. I don't think so.
Who's playing first base next
But I
year?
do think you might have to answer a phone call, and like his agent might yell at you.
Oh, for sure.
And
but who cares?
That's kind of what comes with it.
That's baseball.
Yeah, but these guys all sort of care. They're all in that ecosystem. So, alrighty. Well, listen. Tomorrow we will talk about Padres and Dodgers. We also will talk about SDFC. We're going to talk a little bit about the Portland Timbers. Thank you all for all the dialogue about stretching and credit card points and beer and food and Padres and everything in between on the Discord channel. Are we making this free so we can get it out there, or is this one going to be just for subscribers?
It's short. Screw it. I'll make it free.
Okay. Thank you to Bottle Rocket for hosting us yet again. Thank
Yep.
you for everybody who's shown up here today. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday. I do have a guest coming up on Friday to explain Timbers Joey to us. So stay tuned for that, as SDFC's in a win and in situation on Saturday. Now, they could draw and get in, but that doesn't sound as good. Win and you're in on Saturday night to the postseason.
I like it. I'm excited
that
for
too.
it.
I'm excited. It's an exciting weekend.
In front of the home crowd. It's going to be a really exciting weekend. I'm actually a little bummed that Saturday night I'm going to be outside the county.
Yeah.
But it's still going to be a really fun weekend.
It should be. It should be a ton of fun. Looking forward to it. We'll get you set for the weekend tomorrow. Thank you again to Eli and everybody here at Bottle Rocket. I haven't seen my wife since Thursday of last week.
Go get your girl.
She's been in Vegas. What is this? Like 6 days, 7 days?
Didn't she leave last Thursday?
Going to be useless for the next 48 hours.
You got to pull your weight, Darren.
I'm shocked that she actually showed up here.
It's because she's calling on you. Darren, carry this bag for me. Order me lunch.
I am shocked. I'm useless after 48 hours in Vegas. She's been there for almost a week. So she warned me last night. Oh, I have a sore throat. I'm like, guest room. See you tomorrow.